Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. And today I want to talk about this watch right here, but I thought I'd show you these other ones, just kind of an example of, hey, what's on my mind. You see, this watch here is one of the newest releases from Casio. It has tough solar, so it charges itself automatically using that solar cell built into the face of the watch. It does not, however, have multiband 6 or a Bluetooth connection to automatically set the time, but that's okay with me. I'll tell you why I think this watch is, for me, it's a must-have, despite not having, that automatic time setting. So here are just 3 of the many watches I have that can set themselves to the right time using wave scepter or multiband 6 technology. These will receive radio transmissions from different broadcasts in different parts of the world. In our case here in North America, it's WWVB out of Fort Collins, Colorado. These also have the solar panels built into the faces of these watches, so they will charge their own batteries with exposure to just everyday lighting. And so I like them. Pretty much maintenance free when it comes to batteries and setting them because of those features. And here are 3 other watches I have, which in addition to the multiband 6 or wave scepter technology and the tough solar, these add to that the ability to connect to an app on a smart device like a phone or a tablet. And it's a Bluetooth connection, so they can set themselves to the right time. In areas of the world where the multiband 6 reception doesn't work because they're just too far away from the transmitters of those time broadcasts, these can still set themselves if you have a smartphone with an internet connection. Here are some watches I have that they have the tough solar, so they're charging themselves automatically. They have the Bluetooth connection, so they can connect to the app and set themselves, but these do not have the multiband 6 or wave scepter technology, so they will not set themselves without that Bluetooth connection to the Casio app. Here are some wave scepter watches so they can set themselves to the right time with that WWVB broadcast here in North America. But these do not have tough solar, so I have to change the batteries on these watches every now and then. And what do you know? I've got one over here. It needs a new battery. Maybe I'll make a video. I'll show you how to change this battery. It's not that difficult, but you just want to make sure you do it right. So not solar, got to worry about batteries with these. And here are some watches I have that are solar powered, but do not set themselves to the right time with Bluetooth nor with any of the wave scepter or multiband 6 technology. So I like them because they're solar powered. That's fun. But I do have to occasionally reset the time on these because they just won't do it automatically. And that brings me around to this guy here. This is the latest one I have, which, like these others I just showed you, yeah, it's solar powered, but it does not set itself to the right time. But why do I love it anyway? Well, let me explain. This watch is the Casio AQS820W, and they just released this about a month ago as I'm recording this, so in May of 2025. They also released this in 2 other color combinations, so you'll find it with more of a tan look, and then you'll also see it with kind of a green, dark green, olive green look with a negative display there in the LCD. So I decided to just start off by getting this one. Typically I do avoid the negative LCD watches, but I like this one so much I might at least get the one that's tan. So what's to love about this watch? Almost everything, including a really, I think, reasonable price for this watch here. So let's just go through the main functions and features. As you can see, 2-hand analog display there, hours and minutes, and then down here, your LCD, which shows the seconds right there. So no second hand, but the seconds will be right there in the regular timekeeping mode. Also here in the regular timekeeping mode, it's got the day of the week abbreviated in English, but if I tap this search button, I can change that. Now it's showing me the date, so June 20th, and still the seconds there. Or tap it again and it shows me the full time, hours, minutes, and seconds. And this can be either in a 12-hour mode or a 24-hour mode. So this is what you get in your regular timekeeping mode. Select one of those 3 configurations in your LCD window. If I press the mode button, I go, and here it's showing me the state of the battery, telling me the battery it's at a high charge right now, so that's good. If it gets down to a medium charge, that's still good. If it gets lower than that, some of the functions will stop until you expose it to some light and charge up that battery again. I really think that in my experience, as long as you are using the watch and when you're not using it, you're keeping it in an area where it gets exposure to normal everyday lighting conditions, this battery charge state is rarely going to go below high. If you store it in a drawer for weeks on end, that's going to make the battery state go down to medium or low. Also, if you wear this and you've got a jacket on, or you're wearing gloves or long sleeves, and you're covering the face of the watch where that solar cell is to charge the battery, then you could also see that power state is going to go down. But I really think that just normal everyday lighting, and when you're not wearing it, still let it be in a place where it gets normal everyday lighting, and you won't have to worry about that battery. Now, eventually, I guess all rechargeable batteries will eventually start to lose their capacity to keep going. But I will tell you that my oldest Tough Solar watch that I have, I bought it 19 years ago, and I've never had to open it up and change a battery or do anything as far as opening it up for any kind of service. So will this last 19 years and still be running without having to get a new battery? Maybe. But if it does need a new battery, it's a special rechargeable battery. You just get the right kind and swap it out and keep going. But I'm going to leave it going with this original battery for as long as I possibly can. So press that mode button again. Now it's the world time mode right here. And it's set to UTC, or Greenwich time there. So you still have your local time on the hands and your other time zone here. And you can select a different time zone pressing this search button. And it's like you're going eastward on a map. So, you can go, these abbreviations correspond to cities in those time zones. So now it's the Paris time zone, and you see that's 1 hour ahead of UTC. And I can just keep on pressing this button and keep on going around the world to the east and just choose whatever time zone I want. But I'm gonna take it back and let it sit at UTC again. And the other thing I can do is, if, let's say I do some travel and I'm kind of skipping between time zones on a regular basis, I'm going to one time zone and back. It's easy to make this watch go from one time zone and back, to another and back. All you have to do is press these two top buttons at the same time, and lo and behold, I have now swapped my home time with world time. So now Denver is my world time, and my home time is UTC. And you can see that the analog hands are going to race around until they are showing the proper the proper display for that UTC time zone right there. So now as I go back to my, all my modes, now let's just, I'm at UTC. But you know what? I'm gonna switch that back, just because I'm not really in UTC. Okay, and well, when I did that, now I have to wait for the hands to race around to the correct position before I can actually change modes again. And as you can see, it only takes a few seconds. I mean, I'm going exactly halfway around. So this is like the longest that it can take for those hands to adjust. And there you go. I'm right back to where I started. The next mode is my alarm mode, and it's got 5 alarms. So, I've set that one to 6 a.m. But since I've got 2 dashes there, it means it's on standby for 6 a.m., but it's not actually going to make any sound at 6 a.m. unless I push this adjust button up here, and now it's on. So that number 1 alarm is set for 6 a.m. and it's on. Or I can turn it off again. I can also use the search button to see what the other alarms are set to. So 6:30, I can have that on and off. Some of these other ones, maybe I haven't configured those yet. They're just in the, default midnight alarms. But also in this mode is where you can have the hourly signal on or off. So it'll beep a couple times every hour on the hour. That's kind of fun. Next mode is the countdown timer mode, and this is unique. I think I have another watch that does it this way, but let me just explain how this works. As you can see, I've got the countdown timer set to 99 minutes and 55 seconds. Now I can, and then I've got what's that number 2 mean? Number 2 is 10 minutes and 0 seconds. So what does this mean? Well, let me just adjust this. So I'm going to push the button until these things start to blink. So my maximum countdown for timer number 1 is 99 minutes 55 seconds. So I can set it to something else. Let's just say I'll set it to, let's go 15 minutes. And for the seconds, it goes in 5-second adjustments there. So if I wanted to be 15 minutes and 52 seconds, wouldn't do that, but I can go 55 or 0. Okay, and that's my countdown timer number 1. So if I were to start this right now, it would count down for 15 minutes. And then once it gets to the end of the 15 minutes, it's going to go to countdown number 2, which, let me just stop this. And again, countdown 2 was for 10 minutes. So together they'll add up to 25 minutes. Now, maybe that would be very useful to you. You might have to think twice about how the best way to use this, but I kind of like this idea that, you can kind of split up your countdown, or if you had, again, if you really did want to count down something, one duration and then a different duration right away, that's how you do it. So let's say I'll go 15 minutes and then number 2 is 10 minutes. And then I can have it repeat. So what happens is the 2 countdown timers will go one right after the other and then repeat and then repeat and then repeat up to 10 times. So let's just, it's kind of a math equation here, kind of a story problem, but let's just say, once again, I'm going to set this to just, let's say 5 minutes. And I'll set countdown number 2 also to 5 minutes. Okay, so that means if I were to start this, it would run 5 minutes and then 5 minutes. So 10 minutes total. And because I've set it to repeat 10 times, that would be 100 minutes. And I can, again, as I'm going through to configure the timers, the number of times I want it to repeat is also set right here. So from 1 to 10 times. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, if I want a repeating countdown timer, I want it to go forever until I stop it. And if that's what you want, I guess maybe you'd have to use a different watch. But I think 10 times repeating with 2 countdown timers is pretty good. I mean, what that adds up to is 20 times. 5 minutes, 20 times if I did it this way. Or again, if I had countdown number 1 at a different duration than countdown number 2, together they would both repeat 10 times under this setting. But I'm going to just set that back to 1. So anyway, you can do a lot, very customizable with those 2 countdown timers. And I think, again, do some math, do some story problems, and figure out the best way you can think of to utilize this configuration of a countdown timer. So I'll go ahead and let that run. How about it? So what happens is when the first one runs out, it'll beep just a couple times. And then when the second one runs out, it'll beep a couple times. Unless it's at the very end of your repeat cycle. Maybe you only had to do 1 cycle, then it's 1, 2, and then after the second one has counted down completely, completed that, then it's going to beep more than just a couple of times, a longer sequence of beeps to kind of tell you, okay, this is it. You're really done. So anyway, have some fun with that. So the next mode is a stopwatch mode, and this actually is a 1-hour stopwatch. So minutes, seconds, and hundredths of a second. And this is one that if you don't stop it, it'll just reset to 0 and keep on going. But also you have your split time. And also if you stop the stopwatch, you can reset it right there. So those are your modes. And unfortunately now the hands are kind of in the way for me to play with the modes that require this LCD. But what I can do now is do the adjust button, and I'll hold this down until things start to blink, and I can show you how to do the initial setup here. So first thing you want to do is set your home time zone, which in my case it would be the Denver time zone, or the Mountain time zone of the United States. And if I use the search button, it's like I'm going eastward on the map. And if in this mode, I can use the light button to go westward on the map until I find my time zone. Press the mode button again, and now it's asking daylight saving time. Do I want that on or off? And so as that's blinking, I just press the search button, tap that to have daylight saving time on or off. So even though it doesn't automatically change for daylight saving time, it's a pretty easy adjustment to just simply turn it on or off. And you can do that, when the time is right to enable the daylight saving time mode. And that's just for the time zone that you choose. World time, you would have to configure that daylight saving time for your other time zone in your world time mode if there is daylight saving time or summertime in that other time zone. Okay, next, 12-hour or 24-hour display. Next is where you can reset the seconds right there, and hours, minutes, the year, month, and date. And so it's pre-programmed all the way through the year 2029. If you put in the right year and the month and date, then it will figure out what day of the week it is and to display in the LCD. Here, like on some other watches I have, the key mode, so it's going to beep a lot as you change modes and start and stop your countdown timer or your stopwatch, but you can mute that right there, and then it won't make as much noise as you're pressing buttons. It will still make some beeps at the end of a countdown timer, or when the hourly signal goes off, or when the alarm goes off, but it will be muted all the other times you're pressing the buttons. Next, you got your backlight, which only affects the LCD window here, and that you can change the duration. So if you want it to stay on for 3 seconds, you do that, or 1.5 seconds, you do that. A lot of people would think, well, you should put it on a short duration so you don't drain the battery, but the other part of this watch is it's rechargeable. I mean, it charges itself, so I don't worry too much about draining the battery. So I'll leave it on a long duration for that backlight. Next, okay, do you want that day of the week abbreviation to be in English or Portuguese or Spanish, French, German, or Italian? You can choose your language right there. So the only thing it really affects is the abbreviation of the day of the week when you're back in your regular timekeeping mode. And now you've come back to the beginning of your adjustments, so it's all set. The watch is set up. And unfortunately, the hands are in the way. I haven't discovered an easy way to make the hands move out of the way of this window like I do have on some of my other watches. But I should show you a couple other things while I'm here. Okay, if I push this and hold the adjust button down until things start to blink, then I can do my regular adjustments, right? And set up the watch. And I don't have to do that very often. I mean, once I've got it set, I really only need to go back into the adjustment mode if I want to double check the synchronization on the seconds there, because it will drift a little bit from, atomic time, or if I want to change daylight saving time or change my time zone. So, but typically, yeah, you're not going to be adjusting very much. But one thing that can happen sometimes, and it's rare, I don't want you to be afraid of this because it doesn't really happen all that often. What if the analog hands do not agree with the time as displayed here in the window? Okay, what do? Does it mean the watch is broken forever and you should throw it away, or you have to send it back to the factory to have somebody fix that? Actually, what happens is sometimes from some rough use, some shock, or maybe it gets too close to a magnet, it is possible for these hands to get out of alignment with the digital time. Now, the digital time there is the reference for the watch. If the digital time is correct, but the analog hands are not, then you should double check the alignment of those hands. And it's pretty simple to do. All I do is press and hold this adjust button, and you see it starts to blink adjust, but if I keep holding until it's H set is what that says. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to have those hands go all the way around to the straight up 12 o'clock position, and I can double check the alignment of the hands. And if it's off, I can fix it. And almost every time, if I just make that adjustment, the watch is perfectly fine. You don't have to send it back to the factory or throw it away or anything like that. So there it is. And the camera angle is going to make it look like it might be off a little bit, but to my eyes, that looks like it's pretty well aligned straight up to the 12. If it's not aligned straight up to the 12, I can make the minute hand go forward or backward by 1/3 of a minute every time I press this button here, search button. 1, 2, 3, that's 1 minute. 1, 2, 3, now that's 2 minutes ahead. Or I can go the other direction using this button. Okay, and I can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the other direction. However, this is just a demonstration because it was correct. So I'm going to press this 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yeah, we're back to that's the correct orientation of those hands. So now, if I do nothing, if I don't press any buttons for about 3 minutes, it'll go back to regular timekeeping mode, or I can just tap this adjust button. Goes back to regular timekeeping mode, and now these hands will race around until they show what should align correctly with this digital readout, 4:31 and 40 seconds or so. And yeah, looks like we're good to go. So during normal usage, this watch, the analog hands there will tick forward 1/3 of a minute every 20 seconds. You saw it just did that right there. So at 20 seconds past the minute and 40, and then back at the top of the minute. So when this readout right there shows 20, 40, or 0, you will see this minute hand just tick forward 1/3 of a minute, like that. Okay, so yeah, 3 ticks per minute as far as that goes. All right, now that's pretty much it. The thing I really love about this watch, the reason I think this is kind of a must-have for me, is even though it doesn't set itself with multiband 6 or wave scepter or Bluetooth technology, it's got everything I like. Now, it's not as tough as a G-Shock. This watch band just feels a little bit cheaper than a G-Shock watch band, but it still feels pretty good. It's lightweight. It's not going to be as tough as a G-Shock. It's only 100 meter water resistant, or 10 bar, which, is only half as much. G-Shock is usually a 20 bar, 200 meter water resistance. But it does have a little bit of an edge up here that will kind of protect the crystal from, regular everyday scratching. And it's kind of a soft resin material on the crystal. I think you can just use a tube of poly watch if you scratch that up very much. The other thing I like about it is, the price is right. All right, so here are some G-Shock watches that I purchased over the years that you can still find them pretty much like this for about $100 each. So this one, I modified the bracelet, but you can get this for about $100 now. It has the tough solar and multiband 6, and it's a G-Shock. Same thing with this one. You can easily find these ones now still from the Casio website. And this one might cost a little bit more, this analog digital one here. But this one here, also just kind of a classic G-Shock. Again, for about $100 with multiband 6, tough solar, and they're G-Shocks. This one here, it's not a G-Shock and doesn't have multiband 6, but it only costs $56. Okay, and you can get this directly from Casio for about $56. A few weeks ago, Amazon had this listed kind of like a pre-order watch, and for some reason it was over $100 on their listing. But as I looked at it just within the last day or two, they've also dropped it down to the same $56 or so price that you'll find from Casio. So you can get this or the other colors for about $56. Take your choice if you want to get it from Amazon or Casio. You find it from somewhere else. I think dropping the price down to $56, and the only thing really that it's missing is, multiband 6 or Bluetooth to set itself. I think that's a pretty good value, and I really like this watch. I'm talking myself into getting the other color. I think just to have 2 of these. It just does the job, and it's kind of large. It's maybe not as large as that guy there. Well, I don't know, it's getting there. So it's a larger watch, just so easy to use, so easy to read. I like this one, the high contrast black and white theme there. That's looking good. According to my simple kitchen scale, this is not like super scientifically accurate. 45 grams. Let's just compare that to a more standard G-Shock square, 51 grams. So it's really not even all that much more lightweight than a good standard G-Shock square. And taking a look at the back, we see it's water resistant. There's the model name right there, and it's module 5745. So if I miss something important trying to tell you everything I know about the watch, you can look up module 5745, download that from the Casio website, and get all the instructions, all the nitty-gritty details on how to use this watch. And so yeah, I see the pushers are way out there. It kind of looks funny on the back, like almost like this case back is too small. But on the front, hey, it looks just fine. Here's what the backlight looks like, and yeah, it's a nice little amber backlight. It looks nice. It only lights up the LCD, obviously. So as far as the face of the watch, you do have the luminous material on the tips of those 2 hands. None of the other parts of the watch have that glow-in-the-dark material, but you do have, a combination of that for seeing this watch in the dark. So there it is. That's what it looks like on my wrist, the newest member of my Casio family here. That's how much I got there. I've got about a 7.5-inch wrist is what I have. But I don't know, I've lost a few pounds. So sometimes when my waistline shrinks, my wrist shrinks a little bit too. But that's what it looks like on me. And I think that's pretty well balanced on my hand, on my wrist. So I think I'll be wearing this watch a lot, and I'll also be wearing this one here. Oh, that's a new one I haven't shown you before. Oh, I guess that means I need to make another video. So please come back to see more episodes of the Good Timekeeping Show.